Hey, what's up everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, MtoA 5.14, I will be showing you the different Sss modes in the aiStandardSurface shader. So we have diffusion and random walk modes, and I will show you in depth what the differences are. But before we start, I just want to let you guys know that you can get the whole scene, the model, the HDR, the shaders, everything on if you become a patron, where you have this reward tier where you will get access to the specific scene files for this exact scene. So you can find the specific reward tier on my Patreon page, and it is called Source Materials. And if you become a patron with this reward, you will get all the existing tutorial files and scene files starting from MtoA 5.01. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in the scene files to follow along. So today's video will be more like a comparison. I won't really show you all the knobs and dials because it's very simple. There's just one main difference, which is the type and then anisotropy for the random walk mode. But before we start, I just want to show you how I set up the scene, just that you understand how I made this test, right? So the scene is saved and my render is currently active on incremental. Progressive refinement is off, so I just turn this on and I'll open up the hypershade so you just see what wizardry is going on here. It seems very confusing at first, but just to make my test simpler, I just quickly give you a demo what I set up here. So I have a base shader, which is the one you see here, the gray one, that's the base. Then I have a diffusion shader, and I've got the random walk shader. So all these shaders go into an Sss Switch, where I can easily switch the shaders without reassigning them. So the main surface shading engine is assigned, but I'm just switching the input shaders using the index switcher up there. And all these connections, so my Sss diffusion shader is controlling all the other parameters on the random walk. As you can see, all these parameters are locked, which means if I change a value on the diffusion mode, there will be also change on the random walk shaders. So that enables me to just make sure all the changes I do are reflected on both sides. And then what's going on here is actually my shading network. And I just want to tear this guy off. Let's see if I can bring it back. So that's my scene. Nothing too crazy. Render view. I think I just want to undock it so I can actually live see what's going on. So this is now the undocked hypershade. And if I enable the isolate selected mode in the drop down menu, and I click through those nodes, you can see, and I will explain what I'm doing here. So this one is my Sss Color, which is the color which goes into the shader. And how I set this up, I used a few nodes to create this kind of texturized pattern. I started with a base noise with some distortion on it. You can see the values on the right. Let's just make this guy a bit smaller. So you can see the values on the right and then the result on the left. And I plugged this output into another noise, which has these bigger patches of color. And then I'm actually mixing them together with this noise pattern here. And this in turn is driven by a mix. And the mix is these dots you have seen before. So these dots here are actually used to mix those two colors together to get this dotted texture. And from there on, I'm going into so this one goes into the color, and then I have another little network of nodes here which are creating the radius. And the radius essentially is how deep the ray traces through the object. And based on the wavelength, if you have a more red color, it means that the red light is traveling the furthest. So just to clarify what I'm doing here, I have my radius multiplier, which is an occlusion shader. So, and I set it to invert normals, which means on default is an occlusion shader. You would see these ridges. This is like a default behavior, but I inverted that, which means the normals are inverse, and then I get occluded areas which are really close together but based on the inside. So I can get a nice map which I can use to control the radius. And what I want to do is, like, if an object is has a thick mass, like the body of this crab, you would actually get less SSS because the light doesn't really penetrate the object. Only on these thinner areas you would see this effect. So this is why I'm using the multiplier, which I'm just clamping to 0 and 1 range. And then the SSS radius is actually just a color correct node. So I have my SSS color, which is this guy, and then from there on I'm going into the color correct node, and I'm doing a lot in here. I'm changing the gamma, desaturating, adding more contrast, so these black dots actually don't get any scattering. Like, the darker the radius, the less deep the ray will penetrate, and hence I get these almost no SSS patches where the darker areas are. And now you can see the result if I combine the multiplier with my radius. Then you will see that the only effect is exaggerated on the thinner parts. So you can see after the multiplication, only these really thin objects get the radius. So this connects to the shader random walk and diffusion radius. And then I just have some stuff to play around. Like, I added a bit of thin film on top. This is a noise. It's hard to read anything here. I guess we won't be able to see anything up here. Oh, there you go. So there's a little pattern which is driving my thickness of the thin film shader. Then I've got a weird diffuse color and a diffuse mask, which is a default occlusion. So whatever is wide will get the diffuse texture, and this is represented in the render as well. So this is kind of my shading network, and I hope it makes sense. It's very simple, and on my right I have tiered off the switches. So if I would disable iSight selected, I could quickly jump from my mode. So this is 0 is random walk, 1 would be the fusion, and number 2 would be the base. So this is how I was able to quickly compare those modes. Yes, so let's close the hypershade. And I just want to show you what the thin film effect does. It's mostly in the specular direct, and it's hardly visible. Oh, I think it's actually not enabled on this guy. So let's just go to random walk 0. Yeah, there you see. So now you can see the effect which the thin film has. It gives us this nice sheen on top, like this colored sheen, which is a nice addition to the shader. It's not as apparent in the beauty render, but you can see it in the spec direct, because if I switch to the beauty, you can see it's hardly visible. Alright, so what I want to do now is I just want to show you first the differences between those modes, right? So we have the SSS. So if I go first into the shader, the diffusion shader, we have under the subsurface tab, we have diffusion and we have random walk. So that's the main difference. And to make this test working, I did not change the scale. So this result here, as you can see my comment box down here, this is the random walk default output. So this is if I have the shader, I just need to make this 0. So these settings are the result on the left. So scale on 1 and the subsurface color, which I just showed you previously, right? And then you have these codes and passes. This is my diffuse, which is just adding a bit more diffuse contribution to these closer edges. The specular pass, pure SSS and indirect SSS. Yeah, so these are the passes. And on the right, I just have a reference object. So the cube itself is 1 unit, and you can see on default settings how the rays are penetrating. And this is just, it's supposed to be like a cone, because I assigned the same shader, they also get the procedural texture treatment. That's why it looks a bit weird. But anyway, so I just want to step you through these renders which I did. So from the bottom left going to the right, I'm changing the anisotropy of the random walk shader. So this one would be anisotropy of 0.2, then 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and 1. So 1 is really breaking it, so you would never have an anisotropy of 1. And you can see the effect is exaggerated, and the thinner areas get kind of transparent the higher you put the anisotropy, which is a really nice effect. So essentially what it does, it just changes the scattering type. So positive values are full forward scattering and negative values are backward scattering. So like a backscatter. So as you can see, if I increase the anisotropy, we get more forward scattering and the effect is exaggerated. And as on one, actually it breaks. So and then going back, this is now again 0, and then from here is negative 0.2, negative 0.4, negative 0.6, 0.8, and negative 1. And you can see what's going on if you have negative values. It's more backscattering, and the overall effect is decreased. And so this is what they are. And the snapshot 26, this is actually the diffusion mode. So I was just swapping this mode to diffusion, and this is the result. So if you compare this and this, and let's just set this to A and this to B, then you can actually see what's going on. This is now on the left is the default random walk, and on the right is the diffusion mode. So you can see it's a really drastic difference. It's a lot more realistic because like these thin areas scatter light a lot more, and in the diffusion mode, unfortunately, it does not really have that effect. So this is the main difference between those two shaders or SSS modes. Let's just see if we have the full forward scattering, like almost full, it's like 0.8 versus negative 0.8. Must be this, right? So this is now on the left is forward scattering 0.8, and on the right is backward scattering on negative 0.8. So you have a lot more control, and currently I'm not changing the radius itself, so also the scale is both on 1, and you can see just by adjusting the anisotropy you get this effect. But most surfaces are isotropic, which means the anisotropy should be on 0, which means the ray is scattered uniformly within the surface. And you can also see the overall effect, how it behaves on the cubes itself. So I'm just clicking through these modes now. So this is backscattering, increasing the backscattering to a negative value of 1, and then going from the default into positive anisotropy values. And this is here my reference. This is a random walk base shader with a little bit of scattering on these thinner parts, which looks pretty cool, I must say. And obviously the crab would not look like this in real life. It's this is not how they look like. I just assigned a shader. I did not do any texturing, so I tried to create an interesting result using procedurals alone. So yeah, this sums up the difference between those two scatter modes. So this and this is the SSS random walk and SSS diffusion. So thank you guys for checking out this rather short tutorial on the differences between those two SSS shading models inside the aiStandardSurface shader. So thanks again for tuning in, and be sure to subscribe and like this video and the channel. And also, if you want to have access to those source files, become a patron and you have access to all the previous tutorials as well. Thanks guys. See you in the next. Bye.